installment buying, or buying on credit, came into existence. So even if you could not afford something, you were encouraged to buy it anyway and pay for it out of next month's or next year's income. This meant an increase in debt, but by 1929, something had happened. We had overextended that credit, and the gambling institution known as Wall Street collapsed. With the crash of the stock market, we plunged into the Depression, which took 4 years to reach the bottom in 1933. Now the government stepped in because it had to. And what did it do? It tried to bolster the failing monetary system by creating more debt. Sound familiar to what's happening now? How did they do this? They began the practice of spending more money than they took in taxes, which is called deficit spending. During the Roosevelt administration, they tried to bolster the economy by giving purchasing power to unemployed people by means of welfare. And failing businesses were also put on welfare, which is called subsidies. One could say that the monetary system went in a hock in 1933, and the federal government has been on a deficit spending binge ever since. Now this infusion of government funds falsely stimulated business, and debt started upwards again. Now at this point, 1941, something else happened. There was another reprieve for the failing system called World War II. That provided a reason to put all the unemployed people back on the job or into the armed forces. We ran the factories wide open, turned out a tremendous amount of goods, shipped them overseas, and blew them up. And although it was necessary to protect the world from the likes of Hitler, the war did not solve any of our domestic problems. And as you can see, debt has skyrocketed ever since. In spite of the hardships of the Depression and the heartbreaks of the war, the monetary system did not come to a complete stop. We have stumbled and bumbled along in one way or another. And why is that? We have kept the failing system from complete collapse by various and devious ways. We have maintained scarcity artificially. Back during the Depression, when there were so many people without jobs and their families were hungry, we had tremendous surpluses of food stored around the country. Was it given to the people? No, because it's not profitable to give away food, even to the starving population. Back in the early 30s, we began the practice of destroying crops or killing off livestock in order to validate the monetary system. We're still doing this today, but more covertly. Since 1933, the government has spent billions of dollars paying farmers not to grow. And they have also tried to curtail the production of corn and wheat for human consumption, most notably on the recent alternative fuel ethanol project, which is a waste of food and not a good alternative fuel to begin with. In the monetary system, when food becomes too plentiful, we limit it. This is to sustain price or value, to keep the system going. And if people happen to be hungry, then it seems to be of little importance to the people making the decisions on how the monetary system works. Industry uses different tactics. They operate on a low load factor, meaning they only run 1 or 2 shifts or shut down completely, even though they have the capability to run 24/7, 365 to produce necessary products. Then there's the more wasteful practice of turning out shoddy merchandise. These inferior products that break down or wear out in short periods of time are created to ensure high turnover. If a company could make something that lasted 100 years, and we do have the materials and technology to do that, they wouldn't do it, because how would they sell the next version? To make more profit. Just look at all the recalls of late on various products like toys, cribs, food, cars, appliances, and more. Destroying all those faulty products ensures scarcity. There are hundreds of thousands of junky products turned out every week in order to assure a high turnover for a fast profit. This is the way the system works. This also leads to waste, loads and loads of waste. Look at a simple product like the cell phone. There are far too many worthless, cheap cell phones on the market. Hundreds of millions of cell phones are produced every year, with various models showcasing different features to make them unique. Why? Why not make one amazing cell phone that does absolutely everything you need, that lasts 25 or more years, and that's easily upgradable? Because the monetary system prohibits that kind of logic. According to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency in 2005, it was estimated that 130 million cell phones went out of use annually, creating an estimated 65,000 tons of electronic garbage. And that's just cell phones. So what about every other product you can think of that wastes valuable materials and resources? Of course, the most destructive and most heinous of all human activities is the perpetration of war. And we've had several wars since the turn of the century. Even now we're immersed in a war against a foe with no flag, no solid distinction, and no uniform. A war on terror is something that could be justified until the end of time, because the enemy isn't someone you can pin down. And furthermore, wars have not solved one single underlying problem. Their greatest success is propping up a failing economic system for just a little while longer. World War I, II, Korea, Vietnam, the Gulf Wars, and our current war on terror has cost the lives of hundreds of thousands of people and the destruction of millions of tons of irreplaceable resources, but have yet to solve any of our social problems. The so-called Truman Doctrine that was created about 63 years ago in the name of national security has cost the United States trillions of dollars. We spend billions of dollars overseas in what's called foreign aid, and since 1960 the United States has financed both sides of 14 wars, and still the world is in greater turmoil than ever. Insanity is said to be the act of doing the same thing over and over, but expecting a different result. Likewise, spending money or creating debt does not solve our social problems, locally or globally. The issues addressed in this video up to this point should make that perfectly clear by now, that the monetary system, born of agrarian culture, with hand tools, human perspiration, and all of its scarcity values, is incapable of managing affairs in a high-energy, technologically advanced civilization. Politics doesn't matter. Forms of government don't matter. Culture doesn't matter. The shared economic system of the world is what matters, and that's what needs to change. But before you move to the answer, let's make something perfectly clear. The monetary system is not bad. It is simply outdated. It used to be good. It used to work. It was the best option for thousands of years, and specifically over the past 200 years, it has helped influence amazing growth in the capabilities of humanity. But times change. Most significantly, the advent of technology, the likes of which could have never been imagined 200 years ago. Technology that would have made us all witches or gods in the eyes of the world. And so the methods by which our world should work must also change. It is in the best interest of the whole human race, not separated by color, gender, faith, or lack of faith, to move on to a better system. Now to find that answer, we must make a new approach, seek a new idea, and employ a new technique. The solution is a social system that is based on a scientific method that eradicates the monetary system in favor of a system that allows for the global resource management of the entire Earth. We must declare that the Earth and all its resources are the common heritage of the entire human race, and technology gives us the capability to properly and absolutely provide a high quality of life for every man, woman, and child on this planet. The solution is undeniably designed to benefit everyone on the planet, giving everyone the utmost freedoms of expression, thought, speech, and most importantly, life. If you are a person of faith, consider this. The Lord's Prayer states that we should make earth as it is in heaven. I do not think heaven uses money, or that God has a bank. Do you? We must eliminate the gap between the haves and the have-nots. We must ensure that a child born anywhere in the world has the freedom to pursue all positive paths. We must reconnect mankind to nature